reaction will be live.
So Black Panther is the latest film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the last one before the supposed finale, Avengers Infinity War. This film follows T'Challa as he takes the throne of Wakanda after his father's death, which we saw in Captain America Civil War. First off, this movie has a really grand and unique feel to it. The design of Wakanda is so well realized and really helps distinguish this film from the others in this universe. It really felt like a place that was lived in, and because of that I enjoyed the scenes that delved into the culture regarding how their society functions. Not to mention, the futuristic tech they have opens the door to a lot of interesting ways Wakandans can use it. I especially loved watching the character Shuri explain all the James Bond-esque gadgets Black Panther has at his disposal. There were lots of cool ideas there that really enhanced the action scenes. The car chase scene in Korea especially was one of the best action scenes I think I've seen in any Marvel film. Probably not better than this car chase, but still really well done. However, that's not to downplay the handful of bare-knuckle fights in this movie. These scenes felt raw and made T'Challa feel more vulnerable, which I think was a great way to heighten the tension. Because otherwise he's in an indestructible vibranium suit that at times can feel way too overpowered. This film also openly talks about more global issues regarding how Wakanda could be helping the less fortunate with all their scientific and technological knowledge. However, this comes at a price because they've always been in hiding and don't want to be raided for their riches. This is interesting as things like this aren't really ever talked about in the MCU, so it's cool to see a film address a new aspect of this world. Yeah, Luke Cage did talk about corruption in Harlem, but that's on a much smaller scale, and not everyone watches the Netflix shows, unfortunately. On a separate note, I would really like to see who would win in a fight between these guys, because indestructible suit and indestructible skin could make for a sick matchup. Anyway, the cast is phenomenal as you would expect. Chadwick Boseman is still a great Black Panther, and everyone else, especially Danae Gurira, I'm not really sure how to say her name, Michonne from The Walking Dead, were great in their supporting roles. What I appreciated was that each character actually had something to add to the story, which is not something I can say for most comic book films, which try so hard to include as many characters as possible from their source material. Now, there was a lot of talk hyping up Michael B. Jordan's role as Eric Killmonger, and I can say he definitely is one of the best villains in the MCU. He had an interesting backstory, and his motivation throughout the film was clear. He really reminded me of X-Men's Magneto because you could see where he was coming from, which gave more weight to his actions. However, he was far from Heath Ledger Joker quality in my opinion. My issue is that I don't think he will be that memorable down the line, because to sum him up, he's really just an evil version of the protagonist. He reminds me a lot of Yellow Jacket from Ant-Man in that way, and countless other villains that have had the same powers as the hero but are just evil. Killmonger wasn't really on screen that much for the first half of the movie and was too easily taken down in my opinion. Which brings me to my next point about why I don't think this movie is as great as it could have been. In a narrative sense, the film kinda dropped the ball. It's not bad by any means, it's just that it's kind of simple and predictable. It follows a general format that most superhero movies have followed and doesn't really have any surprising moments. It also feels like a part of the movie was missing because of how fast everything was resolved. I felt the same way about Thor Ragnarok last year, and oddly enough, their plots are pretty similar. Thor and T'Challa both are supposed to take the throne of their respective kingdoms, a villain comes to take it from them, and then the hero comes back for a final battle that ends in the way you'd expect it to. What I'm trying to get at is that there's just no meat here. It all just felt so easy and typical. I even predicted how the villain was going to be defeated from the start of the movie because of how straightforward everything was. I also thought that the emotional aspect of the movie was lacking, which is where I really expected this movie to shine. Overall, Black Panther is definitely a good film, and a great addition to the MCU. I just think that it's only good because it emulates what has succeeded in the past. I expected this one to really break some new ground, but in the end, it just felt like more of the same stuff we've been getting out of the superhero genre. Yes, the world around it and the characters are a good change of pace, but the story we're watching unfold isn't, and that's not something I can really overlook. So in the end, I'm gonna give Black Panther a 7.5 out of 10. If you're a Marvel fan, odds are you're going to at least like it, but if you're not, I don't think this is one that'll change your whole perspective on the genre. I do think, however, that this laid a great foundation for greater things to come, because I think it's inevitable that we're going to be getting a Black Panther 2 after this makes bank at the box office. And yeah, the end credit scenes were pretty cool. Nothing game changing, but pretty cool.